Hey everyone, so in this video we are going to look at this particular person that I train, which is actually my sister, on how we got her squat from this to this. This was a 6 month process, and what the purpose of this isn't for me to brag about, oh, I'm such an awesome coach and all this stuff. No, this is going to be for you guys to learn what are common mistakes that someone will make in a squat, which are mistakes that you might be making, because I can tell you now, my sister basically used to make every squat mistake that you could make. So she's bound to probably doing one of the mistakes that you were doing. I will pick out these mistakes that she was doing, and then I will show you how we fixed these so she became much more efficient on this right hand side. So, for starters, let's go back to this initial squat. So there was a whole bunch of things going on. First off, or the major thing that was really hurting my soul was this forward four type, chest four type thing she does. Kind of like a bit of a good morning squat. You can see her butt shoots up, she falls forwards. I mean, that was one of many things. Other things, her bar grip, you can see how the wrist is kind of cocked back like this. There's no control at the bottom. It's very loose. There's a lot of movement in the body, so you can see that when she comes to the top, she's got all this weight in the heels. Then when she comes down, she falls into her toes and then goes back into her heels. So we're getting this kind of shifting in weight going on. As I said, there's no control when she gets to the bottom of the lift. There's a bit of upper back rounding going on. The bar is bouncing all over the place. You can see it falling down her back as she does more reps. Look, she comes out, bounces, falls down her back, loses more balance. She's got her head up, so her neck is back like this, so she's looking up while she's squatting. And I don't think she's actually bracing into the belt. No, it doesn't look like there's any brace in the belt. And doing this kind of funny glute contraction at the start, in, and then sits them back. And actually, there's not really much of a hips sitting back. It's more just like kind of squatting straight down. So, whole bunch of shit going on. And we were training, just to give you some context as well, we train online. So these fixes were purely done online. So she will send me videos like I will show you then. I will make a video exactly like this. Put the technique on the. Let's put a squat while I'm talking. I'll put a technique on on the screen like this. I would point out, all the bad things that we should doing, giving her a few cues. She will go in the gym, practice those cues, take new videos, come back. I will review those videos. I'll focus on what's the kind of worst things that she is doing, and then we will kind of slowly chip away through that. Again, as we noticed, there's so much things going on, and I couldn't be like, okay, you need to do this, and do like 8 different cues. You're not going to remember all that. So what I did, and what you should do as well, if you've got a lot of problems going on, try to focus on what is the worst thing that is happening. Focus on fixing that, and then move on to the next thing. So for me, the worst thing that I feel that she was doing was that chest falling forward and that hip shooting up. I just did not like that, and we needed to fix that. So, first thing we done, we stripped her weight back. In that video, she was probably doing, that's 55 kilos. Give you some context. My sister weighs 47 kilos. She's little like me. So it's a pretty decent weight for someone her size. So we had to cut back the weight to 30 kilo. But we first started with bar squat. Okay, so what I started to do, we stripped the weight back. Now, as a warm-up before her squats, I was like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 sets of 5 just with the bar. This is your warm-up before you squat. We're going to do it in a nice, controlled fashion. And I think the major cue that I said to her is your trunk angle that you come down in is the trunk angle that you come up with. Can you see that she does not lose the trunk position? There was no falling forward. So the angle that she comes down in like that. Look at that position. I said, when you come up, do not lose this position. All right. There are other things going on. Grip, eyes, where they're looking, hips not sitting back. But as I said, I didn't want to focus on all those things. I want to get this right. I want to get this trunk position right first. So again, come down in your trunk, hold that position, and when you come up, do not lose that position and do not fall forward. And she did pretty good, right? I think this was like the second week, okay? What is the purpose of doing this before her heavier warm-up sets, or why you may do a similar thing before your heavier work sets? I think I said heavier warm-up sets. Before your heavier work sets, with technique, it's all about feeling the right and wrong position. So I wanted her to feel like, what does it feel like to squat without falling forward at the chest? All right. So then when she went to a heavier squat, and then when she does fall forward in the chest, she'll be able to feel herself falling forward, compare it to what it's meant to feel like doing the right way, like this. So then when she does fall forward, she can detect that and then try to implement the movement pattern that she is doing here to offset that forward falling that she might do in the heavier squats. So that is why I was making her do these empty barbell squats as a warm-up, holding this nice position prior to her heavier loads. And also, this was in the same program, I also gave her the goblet squat with the box. So one of the issues that she was having as well is she wasn't sitting her hips back, wasn't keeping this kind of like vertical shin, wasn't keeping the knees back. All right, so I wanted to teach her to sit back at the hips, but I gave her the kettlebell here because, as we said, we saw she had that forward falling problem. One of the forward falling problems is just because of technical ability, just the knowledge. She didn't know she was falling forward. But two, I feel that she lacked strength, the ability to maintain brace under load in her squats, and that was causing her to fall forward as well. So there's multiple factors leading to her poor technique. So I felt this would be a good way to do multiple things. Teach her how to sit her hips back, teach her how to feel a more upright position, and also increase strength at the same time. So we did these goblet squats. Can't remember if this was an actual exercise or if this was another warm-up that we did. Not too sure, but it would have worked some sort of conditioning work regardless if it was a warm-up or not. So we had box squats in there for a while as well. And then we were squatting multiple times a week. Around the same time, I was like, okay, we're going to squat light. Look, this was one of the first squats that we did. Here we have changed her grip position a little bit. Thumbs are over the bar now, not doing this under the bar. Wrist is in a more neutral position. And I was like, okay, let's do some pause squats. Again, to maintain this bottom position. Try to not fall forward. And you can see she did pretty good in not falling forward. Again, this is like week 2 or 3 relative to that very first squat that I showed. So again, I want you to slow it a little bit down. She's going a little bit fast, but at least do that pause at the bottom. Maintain that trunk position and come up without falling forward. So we did this for a while, and then we started chipping away at other things because again, there's still a lot of things going on here. Still looking up, but that was the first thing. About the first things that we did. And then if we go, okay, then after a while, I forget how many weeks it was at least a month. We took away the box from the goblet squat. The reason we did that is I don't want her, and plus you shouldn't rely on always having this kind of external thing there that's guiding your movement pattern. You can use some sort of like external stimulus to help you guide movement, but eventually you need to take that away. You need to take the training wheels away because you need to learn how to do the movement without those training wheels there. Alright? So I found her box squat was getting pretty good, so I was like, okay, let's take away that box. However, I still want you to sit your hips back. Basically do that box squat just without the box. I think that was the cue I gave her. Box squat without the box. And she did it. This looks exactly like the box squat. Not losing the position. Her upper back strength looks like it's getting a bit better. Can hold a nice position there. Not getting much knee drift, so the knees aren't drifting too much when she gets down to the bottom of the lift here. See, they're not drifting forward. Shin angle looks good. So that's what we've done. Remove the box. Next. Okay, so we saw those pause squats, which was... where was it? Pause squat. So that was on the 15th of the 1st. So you can see the dates. That was like 3 weeks after her really bad squat. Her really bad squat was on the 21st of December 2018. Those pause squats with the 30 kilos I showed just before was on the 15th of January 2019. So now if we go to the 30th of March 2019, so what, it's another 5 or 6 weeks after that. So this was where her pause squats got to. So now you can see I've changed where she looks now. No more looking up. We're looking towards the floor. Elbows are sitting a little bit higher now. We narrowed the stance a little bit. Got the feet turned out, angled as well. Same thing. Sit back, pause, maintain that good position, come up. That significant improvement in that 3 months, right? Still not perfect, still falls forward a little bit, but we can see the progress. Keeping those knees back, shins are still pretty vertical. Sitting in the heels a little bit, still not, I don't think I talked about shifting the weight in the midfoot yet. You can see she's kind of like, I don't know if you can see it, but the bar's here, but her hips are here, and then her feet are here. You can see her toes are off the ground a little bit, shifting into the heels. But anyway, it's a much better looking squat. A lot more control, okay? A lot more control and under a heavier load. We're doing 30 kilos before, and that's like 47 and a half or so. So, decent improvement. Then also, remember those empty bar squats we were doing? So if we look, this is at the same time. This was... this was about 2 weeks after those pause squats that I showed. So this is probably 3.5 months later. So we still had these barbell warm-ups in there, but now she's basically doing everything right. Elbows are probably a bit low for my liking, but regardless, tight back. Eyes are looking down. Pretty nice position. A lot better to where we were. Oh, she was made a little tiny bit of a mistake there, but that is okay. They are looking pretty good. I think very shortly after this time, because she was starting to nail this, and just to stop wasting time, because had to spend a lot of time doing the kettlebell squats, doing the warm-ups with the bars, then doing the warm-ups for the regular squat. A lot of time. So we started to peel back away these things and then made it back to a kind of just a regular barbell squat with weight and less warm-ups. So now let's fast forward to a pause squat. 16 weeks later, pause squat. Actually, that was the same. I think that bar squat and this was the same, exact same time. I think that was the same outfit, right? Now again, nice, pretty good control. Not much falling forward there. Tiny little bit. When she gets tired, falls forward a little bit, but getting better at holding position. The mistakes that so the frequency of her mistakes happen less frequently. The magnitude of the mistake is a lot smaller. So if she does forward fall, it's not like really bad. It's only a little bit. So the frequency and magnitude of those mistakes are lessening a lot, and that's a sign of learning. So that was a much better improvement. Again, now she's sitting more back at the hips. Those knees are still staying in a pretty not a whole lot of knee drift going on. Good bracing in the belt there. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's getting a lot better. And then I've skipped ahead. So this is a very final, the most latest squat basically. So between that pause squat that I just showed and this one, there came a point I was like, okay, we're gonna take away the pause squats. You're getting pretty good at that now. So let's now focus on a regular squat. Let's implement all those things that you have learned over this kind of 6-month period and just practice a normal squat. Normal tempo, no pauses to make it specific. Alright? And this is pretty good. She's still got a little bit of work to do. I feel like she goes with the chest, she raises at the chest up a little bit and not through the hips. Okay, but things that's improved on, look, the feet. Do you remember on those old videos, shifting her weight back and forth? She'll shift in the heels, shift in the toes. Now, one of the major cues was keep your weight in the midfoot, which she is doing pretty well. You don't see much rocking. You can see when someone rocks because their toes will you can kind of see the shoe. It moves like that when they're shifting their weight. It's pretty steady and it looks. There's not too much like irrelevant movements going on. There's not much noise going on anymore relative to that very first one, which was falling forward, shifting her weight back and forth. The bar was falling forward, so that was another thing that we worked on. So now, look, her bar doesn't fall down her back anymore. She's pulling the bar down in her back, keeping it in a pretty stable position. Not much movement going on there. Got a good brace going on. As I said, keeping that balance in the midfoot, and it looks a lot more clean with less noise going on. I forgot to add this video in, so I'm just slipping it in now. So now with her squat, like, she knows what a good rep feels like. She knows what a bad rep feels like. She has the ability to fix when she does bad reps. She's developed the knowledge to problem solve, basically, to problem solve bad movement. So now what the next process is to get her to maintain this nice looking squat position while we slowly increase load. So to maintain good squat technique under heavier loads. So each week we're doing very, very small increases. 1 to 1.5 kilo increases. Very, very small. That's why we're using micro plates. If we increase the load too fast, then she is more likely to fall back into her old movement patterns. Gonna get this kind of form breakdown. But if we add by 1.5 kilos, it's not a big jump. She's going to be able to hold her technique. She's going to get a little bit stronger, even though it's a kilo. If you can, just imagine if you can add a kilo to your squat every week. 1 kilo for every week of the year, and you increase by 52 kilos your squat in a year. Just doesn't happen like that. So we'll do these slow increments while she holds her technique, build technical strength under heavier loads, so the ability to hold technique while lifting heavier loads. And basically that is the process that we are going to keep building on for forever now.